I think one of the moments that I found just really amusing and just happiness and a lot of laughter would be one of the random hikes that me and another staff member, Hannah, took into the wilderness of sisters. And I was dressed in what I had wore to Sunday, to church. And it was a full dress and hair down, and just, I was not meant to be in the woods. And yeah, we had driven out after having dinner and we were like, hey, we're gonna walk. And so I just remember just the silliness of that moment and the lightheartedness. The theme of this internship for me would be some promises that God gave me before I came, which was healing and freedom. And that has been just kind of a covenant that we made, or that he gave me, and he's constantly been fulfilling it, and more so than I ever could have imagined. And I think he's done it. I'm like, man, this is amazing. He keeps his promises. God is so faithful to us. And then I'm like, oh wow, there's more to it. And it's a never-ending promise, but it's also just a huge theme of what this time has been for me. There's been quite a few things that the Lord's taught me through this internship, and even just more to come. And I think I'll realize more when I look back on the time I spent here. But I would say one of the biggest things was how to fully submit stuff at the foot of the cross and not have that desire to slowly pull pieces back and believing that I can do better, even though I know that, who knows better than God? He knows everything, and truly understanding how trusting him looks like. Something that I would say that the kids that I've spent time with have taught me would be just the childlikeness and wonder that they have for God, and just hearing the way that they speak about him and what they know, whether it's one Bible story or maybe that God gives us grace. They say it so determined and absolute, it is what they believe and stand on. And I think that that's such a great example of what I should be presenting. And they also talk about it so openly, and just, oh, you want to talk about God? Isn't this cool? And they just agree, and they just push you to continue to be this is God's heart. Or I love horses because, yeah, God gave them so many different personalities. And I think that's amazing that they don't miss those things, but how often do we? I would say that Aaron has not only taught me how to be able to go with the flow and just be okay with not being in control of things. Listening to what God's calling me to next has been kind of challenging for me, because there's the desire that he's put into my heart, which would to be here and working on the ranch and continuing to serve this ministry and grow with the people that work here and the kids. And yeah, so that's what my heart would be, but it's going back to God and relying and trusting. And yeah, and I know that if he doesn't call me to here, then he calls me to somewhere that's better for me and better place for me to serve him. Some advice that I would probably pass on to any future interns would just, one, be willing to ask for help. And we don't have to shoulder it by yourself. There's a lot of responsibility, and yeah, there's a lot of things to learn, but you don't have to feel like you have to be good at it. So I would say asking for help, and yeah, just push for community. And it makes it a lot smoother, and it's easier to understand just maybe what God's teaching you here or how to work together on the ranch. And so I would say community, and yeah, knowing when to ask for help.